This is major for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to be talking about the most recent injury update and what this means for the Chicago Bulls as they get set to take on the Brooklyn Nets. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so as we get ready for tonight's game, the major news has been around this team and the injury report. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. Most recently, we had Patrick Williams, who is on the injured report right now. It appears that Patrick Williams has a strained left shoulder. We talked about Zach LaVine yesterday. He has a sprained AC joint, and the difference between the two is with a sprain, that is an injury to the ligament, and with a strain, that is an injury to the muscle or the tendon. And at the current time of this current recording, they're listed as game time decisions. I think on ESPN.com, they're listed as questionable, but right now on NBA.com, they're listed as game time decisions, along with Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith missed the last game with some knee soreness, and also too, he had a sprained ankle, but it ultimately was the knee soreness which kept him out of the game. So that's a bit concerning considering that he's already missed in the preseason. And with Patrick Williams and Zach LaVine, these are two players that have really battled through injury through their time with the Chicago Bulls. So definitely some tough news right now. And I think that this is going to lead us into where the opportunity is for the Chicago Bulls, because we already knew that Lonzo Ball is going to be out for at least 5 to 6 games. You know, these players are game time decisions, and there's a chance that they may miss the game. And even if they do play in the game, they're probably not going to be 100%, which may lead Billy Donovan to actually now have to go a little bit deeper into his rotation, and he's going to have to give some players some opportunities. And so let's go ahead and look at that, starting with these young players that I think have really played well for the Chicago Bulls in this first 5 games. And I think a player like Buzelis, I think we are going to see probably some increase in his minutes tonight, especially with the Nets and the front line that they have. They have Nick Claxton, they have Noah Clowney, they have Ben Simmons. So we're absolutely going to need a player like Buzelis tonight, especially if Jalen Smith is not available, or if he is just not feeling 100%. We certainly are going to need some more Montes Buzelis tonight. And then with Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry, I think that both of these players have been phenomenal. And I love that Dalen Terry, he does not have to be an impact on the stat sheet, but he has been an impact for the game. His energy, just bringing that chippiness, the edge that he brings off the bench, I think that that is something that the Chicago Bulls are absolutely going to need, especially in a test when you have some of your main players that are injured. Julian Phillips, I think, has looked terrific. We really got a chance to see that he has improved his jump shot, and I think that that three-point shot is only going to get better. I love his athleticism. I love the fact that he's been mixing it up defensively. So I think that all 3 of these players are definitely in line to see some more minutes. And I think now, if we do have some players that are out, these are a couple players that I think could possibly make their way into the lineup. And I want to start with THT. I think that THT is a player that we saw some signs from him in the preseason. I feel like he's an absolute bucket getter. And I love the fact that I think defensively, you can trust him out there to be able to lock down some players. I think that he can switch out on some multiple positions as well. And I don't feel like we lose a lot with THT. He has an incredible wingspan as well. So I think that this is a player that certainly could get some playing time, especially if we have some players that are out. And then next up, I said it before the last show, I think that you might see a player like Chris Durarte. I know he hasn't played. Look, Torrey Craig didn't play, and then he played some last game. And so this might be the time that Billy Donovan has to reach deep in the rotation, especially if we're missing some players, or if they get out there and they just have to be a scratch after they start. I mean, that's a real possibility. This is a team that is looking to run the other team ragged, and we need to have as many players available as possible to continue to run this system. And look, we might have to go with the fresh legs out there. Chris Durarte is a player that I could expect to to see some minutes tonight. And this is where I think the real opportunity starts from the player standpoint. But now when it comes down to the coaching, I think that this is also going to be an opportunity for the Chicago Bulls because when we look at the coaching standpoint, Billy Donovan is going to have to continue to trust the players like he's been trusting them thus far. And he might have to dig a little bit deeper into the rotation, which means that, he's going to have to find a way to extend some minutes, get really the best team on the floor, and continue to make adjustments to what the Nets are going to do. And I'd have to think as well that Wes Unseld Jr., he has been huge for the Chicago Bulls, and the way that he has really coached up this defense, it's been pretty incredible right now because they are 7th in defensive rating. And I think that this is the time that we get a chance to see him get into his coaching bag even more, because we're going to need that, especially if we have some players that are injured or out. And finally, as we look at the players to watch, I am absolutely looking forward to seeing Cam Thomas. I think that, he's a brilliant scorer. I remember when Jay Billis had talked about this out of the draft, that he was absolutely going to be able to score the basketball. And I'm going to want to see just how dynamic he is. But on our side, I want to see what is Josh Giddy going to do? What is Kobe White going to do? What is Ayo Dosunmu going to do? Like defensively, I think that these guards are going to be challenged. And I want to see, are they going to execute with the rotations? Are they going to continue to trust each other on the defensive end, continue to have that level of communication necessary to win the games? Because as much as it has been placed on the offense and how exciting it has been, I think at some point, as the Chicago Bulls really turn the page with this team and start to become a legit contender again in the Eastern Conference, I think at some point their calling card is going to be defense, because I'm remembering some of the old Golden State Warrior teams where they could literally go on these 9 to 12 point runs, and it wasn't just scoring the basketball, it was their ability to get stops. And we saw that energy across the board with Josh Giddy, Kobe White, Dosunmu, and the rest of the players out there. So I'm looking to see, with these guards that are certainly going to come in and test our guards, what we're going to do defensively. So let me know in the comments what you think about this upcoming game. What are you thinking about these recent injury updates around the Chicago Bulls? What do you think is going to be the key for tonight's game? Looking forward to hearing that. Before we jump out of here, I just want to thank everybody out there for liking and subscribing to the content. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach our subscriber goal of 5,000 subscribes before the end of the season. And I just want to let you know to continue to mash on that subscribe button, as 64.2% of you that watch are not subscribed. And look, even though we have some players that might be out or they're not going to be 100%, I think that this is a prime opportunity for the Chicago Bulls to really rise to the occasion, because they're going to be players that we're going to depend on as we continue to build out this team. What better way to find out what they are made of by putting them into this test tonight and seeing what they can do? So super excited for that. I'll see you guys on the post game, and as usual, go Bulls. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.